Hello Spunker, let's talk about intermittent fasting and why I've been doing it every single morning in 2024. Because what I found out is that not only have my testosterone levels increased massively, but I've also found out how much it results in me having these extreme periods of focus. It helps me to feel energized. It doesn't actually lead to muscle loss, which I once thought it did. And it leads to maximizing fat burned, helping me to stay lean because it forces my body to burn fat, as my body is literally forced to focus on using my fat stores for fuel instead of food sources. And I've also learned that intermittent fasting is very beneficial because it boosts your growth hormone and it also lowers your insulin levels. Now, before I started doing this, hands down, I genuinely believed that breakfast was the healthiest meal that I could eat during the day. That's what I thought. That's what I've been told for basically my whole life. And what I've found is that research basically shows that this is a load of bullshit, right? And this mainly is down to a marketing campaign done by Kellogg's years and years ago that's essentially stuck with us as a society, and we all have grown up believing that breakfast is the healthiest meal of the day. We all think it's a necessity, and if you don't have breakfast, you're gonna bloody die or something. I don't even know. And I also thought that in order to build muscle, you needed to be eating like 6 meals a day with, you know, regular protein every like couple of hours, so that you were constantly in a state of something called muscle protein synthesis. But I soon found out that that actually didn't affect my results too much. As long as I was getting in the daily grams of protein that I needed, I would still gain muscle and I'd still be able to maintain the mass that I had without necessarily needing to worry about how I distributed those portions of protein. So how exactly do you do this thing of intermittent fasting that I'm talking about? Well, essentially it goes like this. You wake up, you drink some coffee, you do some work for a couple of hours, preferably the most important stuff in the morning. You go to the gym, and then after you go to the gym, you'll break your fast. And what I want to do now is basically go through each of those points that I've just made. So when it comes to waking up in the morning, doesn't really matter what time you wake up. For some people it might be 8 o'clock in the morning, some people might be 11 o'clock in the morning. Whatever time that is, you want to be starting your stopwatch, if you like, from that point to not eat any food. So if you wake up at 8 a.m, that means you won't eat any food until midday. And during this time, the only things that you can consume is stuff without any calories whatsoever. And obviously that kind of leads to not very many things, but what I do is I drink water and I drink coffee. And when I say coffee, I don't just mean like, you know, your classic Nescafe instant, you know, coffee, like none of that shit. I'm talking about real coffee. And this is where shit gets a bit interesting, because I always thought that coffee was really fucking bad for you, but actually it's the complete opposite. They found that coffee drinkers literally live longer than people who don't drink coffee, and it's a high source of antioxidants, meaning that, you know, it contains these ingredients, if you like, which can destroy something called free radicals that are like harmful substances in the body. It also improves your worker performance, you know, it boosts your cognition and your focus and your energy levels, and it also temporarily boosts testosterone levels, which is kind of like a double whammy of testosterone boosting if you're drinking coffee and fasting at the same time. And like I said, this is not about drinking instant coffee. This is about having real coffee, okay? So what you want is coffee from actual coffee beans. And my suggestion to you would actually be to buy a little percolator, and I'll just search this up to show you what I mean. But you can get a percolator like this from Amazon for about 20 quid probably. I'll let there's one there for like a tenner or whatever, but that's what you want to be buying. And then essentially what you want to be doing is purchasing some real coffee beans, and I'll show you what I mean by that as well. So let's have a look. Coffee beans. These are your coffee beans, so you can buy these. And then where I bought my coffee beans from, I actually got the person to ground them for me, which essentially means that they just like blend them up, and then it came out looking like this, right? Like this powdery stuff here. And then what you do with that is you put that in the percolator, and that's essentially going to allow you to drink real coffee and get all of the good shit and all of the benefits that coffee can provide you. When you drink coffee like this, it's, you know, it's not going to destroy your health unless you're drinking like 10 or like 20 cups a day or something ridiculous. You know, just 1 or 2 cups is really optimal for this kind of shit, man. And now the reason for why you want to train fasted is because when you train, your body essentially needs fuel in order to operate. And your body will either get that fuel from a food source, as in, the breakfast that you've just eaten perhaps, or it will get that fuel from your own personal fat source in your body. So if you want to be ripped and if you want to lose weight, you have to kind of think like, which of these fuel sources is best gonna give me the body that I want? And the answer to that is, of course, your fat stores, because if your body is burning your fat for fuel, then you're going to be losing weight and you're going to be looking leaner and more ripped. And that's not even the best part about being fasted. It's that when you train during this state, your body is essentially priming itself and it prepares itself for some food, so that when you actually break the fast, all of the carbs and protein and all of the shit you eat goes straight into the muscle stores, and it means it can be more accurately stored as muscle. And this is because when you train fasted, it improves something called nutrient partitioning, which means it better allows your body to take in all of these nutrients. So now I've said that, you probably are wondering a little bit, what meal should you be eating to break the fast? And my advice personally is actually to start off with something small, so something that's maybe 400 to 500 calories, because I find that if I eat a big meal straight away at 1 p.m. or something like that, I find that I actually get tired throughout the day because I no longer have to work for my meal. If you look back to cavemen times or whatever, once you've hunted the food and you've eaten it, you no longer have the crave or desire or need to be in focus mode, and it allows me to just slow down completely, which is not what I want. So I find that if I eat something small, it stops me from getting tired, and it helps me to stay on track and to stay focused and energized. And I won't actually eat anything substantial until about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or something like that, and that's when I'll have a big meal, perhaps that's 1,000 calories to 1,500 calories, and then I'll do that again about 5 p.m. or 6ish, which will take me right up to where I need to be in order to reach my calorie goal. So keep training, keep seeing what works for you and your body, because everyone's different, but most of all, believe you can, and you're more than halfway there.